Hello, welcome back again. It's Alex Cobb here for JE Instruction. Jonathan Devlin agreed to join us for another video here. And I asked him to come back and to join us again because he is so shy. It took a while because I wanted to hear from him first person. The thing that he was just completely dead wrong about insurance before he got in the industry versus now. Because that tends to be different for people in the industry. We all kind of have these ideas about insurance, and most of them, as we find out, they're just flat wrong or they're only partially true. So I just want to hear from Jonathan what that is for him.
Okay. For me, it was I guess the barrier to entry or the amount of risk involved. Prior to being involved in the insurance industry, obviously we all see the insurance agencies.
That's
around.
his phone ringing in the background.
Yeah.
So we're authentic here. This is real. We're recording it.
Yeah. So we, obviously we all see those. So, but we don't see the people that are like in house, right? I mean, we don't see them. So, I kind of had this idea. I never really thought about it, but, just never had the idea that people were working in-house and could earn a salary or an hourly wage. And so, of course, we talked earlier in other episodes about, me being risk averse.
AKA scaredy cat.
No, it's and it's not that I'm afraid to bet on myself or anything like that. It's just I've kind of been there and done that, and not in insurance and other things, but now I just want security. Honestly, I'm getting old, and I want my son to know that my son's taken care of. So, yeah. But yeah, so of course, and I didn't see that before. Because I was thinking, all right, well, you go invest so much money and you start an agency, whether you be captive or independent, but still you're owning your own business. You're making an investment, and so you lose money before you start, and then it's kind of sink or swim. So like I didn't realize that there are opportunities out there. Like the one I currently have, where I'm paid to do this, and then get a little extra, but on top of it, based on my performance.
Well, I think from my experience, what you're saying is probably the most common. Mm-hmm. People just assume that it's all or nothing. That you're either 100% commission and you've taken all the risk, or
exactly.
There's a middle ground. I mean, there really truly is a middle ground. So for the most part, if you're going into a sales production capacity, there's going to be a certain amount of commission required, because if you're on salary, motivation kind of gets sapped at that point, because you're going to make the same regardless of what the results are. So we call that producer perish.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're on a salary, you don't have that incentive to do that one more sales call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think your common misconception in that regard is actually fairly common. What is one thing that you kind of thought was true about insurance, but you see it more than ever now that part really was true?
That people don't want insurance. They just if they come to you for it, it's because they see a need, not necessarily because they want it or want to buy it.
Right.
And that's I've never had anyone call and say, hey, I want to get insurance, but had plenty of people say, well, I need to get this. I don't know if I can afford it, but I need it. And those calls are great, because like I said, earlier, I want to help people, and the approach I take isn't just I'm gonna shove this much coverage down your throat. It's finding out what you need. And actually, a lot of times, so a lot of my sales, probably most of my sales come from people who call me and say, hey, I'm on disability, I'm on limited income, you know, so I can't even afford this. So you're wasting your time. And I'll tell them, I said, look, I got you. But here's the thing: a lot of people are used to talking to an insurance agent in this agency or insurance company, or whoever, you know, tries to sell you this much money, or tries to sell you this much in insurance. They try to sell you $25,000 or $50,000 in insurance, and when it comes down to it, you only need $5,000. You know, maybe you want to be cremated, you just need a couple thousand. So after we have that conversation about what they need, you know, I'm able to set them up with maybe a $5,000 policy for $20 a month, when they were thinking, you know, they have to pay, you know, $100 for a $50,000 policy or something like that. That's not the case. So,
well, just so you know, the one thing you just said there, where you wish somebody would come to you because they want insurance and they need insurance, you know that. So when you're dealing with PNC, for the most part, that's the reality.
yeah,
Because I mean, look, honestly, if you buy a house, the bank's going to make you have insurance. If you're in a state here in the Southeast, like, the state's going to make you have insurance on a car. So, you know, you really aren't a salesman in that regard. You just have to give them a reason to choose you.
exactly.
Because somebody's obligating them to that purchase. But yeah, life insurance is it's a different animal in that regard. So, you know, again, not good, not bad. It's just understanding, you know, we want to make you guys aware that there are subtle differences.
Yeah.
And in earlier videos, I've kind of touched on this, and I tend to repeat this a lot because it's so true. The mentality for a truly successful life agent is very different than it is for a successful PNC agent. Because whether you're just looking at the time period over somebody's life versus the next 6 months, or if you're looking at how the commissions are paid, you know, historically the commissions on a life policy are substantially higher than they are on anything PNC related. So I mean, we're talking, you know, 70, 80, even 100% commission on some life policies, where with PNC, I mean, the highest I've ever personally heard is 30%. You know, typically 15, 12, somewhere in that range is more historically accurate. But, you know, life just pays a higher commission. The difference is on the residual side, they tend to lag way behind on PNC. So usually after about year 3 or 4, the total compensation to the agency is going to be the same with one life policy versus one PNC policy that was sold. So, you know, that's, again, subtle differences.
Yeah. And going back to what you said about, you know, you have to, you know, show them why they should buy from you. You know, on the life side, so that first hurdle you have to pass is you know, showing these people why they need it. And obviously, well, you know, sometimes you don't have to do that. Sometimes they just know they need it. But after you get past that point and you get to where you have someone that needs it, then you shift into that why should they buy it from me? Because, you know, there's tons of other companies they can buy it from, and you know, some of them advertise heavily. I don't know how many times a day I heard, well, you know, I saw this commercial, blah blah blah. I'm like, well, let me tell you about that commercial. So you the fine print, because I actually have that company's quotes right here, and that's not the price their insurance is. You know, this is the reality. So, you know, you do have to, and I guess that really gets into a whole nother subject of that maybe we get some other time, but like building rapport and trust. You know, that's something you have to do. Obviously, you know, you're wanting this person to buy something for you, unless, especially like with me. So I'm dealing with someone over the phone who they're not sitting in an office or something like that with the insurance company's name on the door. They're on the phone with someone. You know, and a lot of these people have been scammed before. So, you know, I really have to build that rapport and build that trust. So they're going to give me their credit card or their banking information over the phone, you know. And a lot of times, you know, doing business over the phone, that's another obstacle you run into. You know, everything goes great, and then they're going to trust you to insure their life, but they're not going to trust you with their credit card number, you know. And so, yeah, so it's really building that rapport. So it's probably one of the most important things, I think, in this industry.
I mean, look, while we're here, let's just take this opportunity. What is the strategy you use to overcome that?
So the credit card thing, or just building the rapport?
Both.
So the credit card thing, a lot of times. So fortunately, my company, they don't have a thing where we can our email, we can't compose an email and send it to someone, right? However, they do have a.
So is it like a form email?
Well, so basically, they have it's kind of like a digital business card where it has our name and phone number and extension, and we just hit the button and send that to them, send it to their email address. So one way, I'll overcome that. Of course, point out that, hey, you're trusting me to insure your life, but you don't want to trust me with this. So that's one way. Number two is sending them that virtual business card, being like, look, this is going to come from Jonathan.Devlin at company name. You can go to that website, see that's us, that we're legit. And then secondly, I'm like, look, you can go to your state website or your Google and search your state insurance license lookup, and you can enter in my name, the name that's in that email. You can send
that is DEV is Victor, LIN,
and you can see, you're going
to be cyber stalked.
Right. You can see that I'm an out of state, I'm an out of state agent in your state, and that I have an out of state license. You're going to see my license number. You're going to see the insurance companies that I can write for. And so that way you can be sure, because we're heavily regulated by all 50 states. So, whatever, you can go to any state and look that up, because I'm licensed in 50 states and District of Columbia. So so, and then of course, there's discussion about security, about our security, the things we do to secure that phone number, that bank account number. And I even have some people, I want to do it by mail, so that leads in that discussion. Well, how many times have you heard, or how many news stories have you heard about this mailman that got caught with tons of mail in his apartment, or things like that? And how many hands that goes through, and you're putting your credit card information in there, So
well, and just to remind them, for those of you that don't remember, this is your first time listening. Thank you. Primarily, Jonathan works with an age group that's 55 and older.
Right.
So when he mentioned about them being scammed and maybe not being tech savvy, these are like the poster children for those expressions.
Yeah.
So for him to overcome those objections is really saying something. Because even with the younger demographic, the younger crew, we're hesitant to give the information out. Mm-hmm. And most of us have not been scammed, fortunately, but your clients have been.
Yeah. And I tell you what, it's kind of heartbreaking, because I've had people actually ask me, well, you're not going to scam me, are you? And it's like, if you're asking people that and taking their word for it, you're going to get scammed. And it's kind of like, you feel sorry for those people, because what's coming, what's coming their way.
Wow. So that's one way you work to overcome those objections.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any others that you would use in those cases? Do you think maybe these videos would be able to help you kind of brand yourself a little bit more, to kind of give us some bona fides so they can actually kind of interact with the person they're dealing with?
Maybe, but a lot of these people are older, and even though they are not tech savvy and get scammed, they are wise. So a lot of times I could send them to a video, and they would just be, well, you could send me a video of anyone. So not necessarily, maybe some, but
Wow.
Like I said, there's some wisdom there, but just not the tech savvy. So,
well, at the end of the day, he's finding success with his slice of the market, with his personality traits, with his way of going about it. He's finding success in the industry that we welcome more you to come into. The moral for any agent, I don't care whether you're doing what Jonathan's doing or what I've done in the past, what other guys I work with are doing. Your job is to be there when they need you,
mm-hmm.
no more, no less.
Yeah.
So it's really, look at the years we're in now, going into 2023. It really is more about your presence, ENCE, presence, meaning you're able to accomplish what they need you to do when they need you to do it. It's not about you being chained to a desk anymore. Those days are over. There are agents that still do it. I talk to them all the time. But they're working really hard when there's another way to do this, because most customers, especially in our age bracket and younger, they're not expecting anybody to be sitting there all day because they're not going to. So, like I said, Jonathan's found his success in his slice of the pie, which is 55 and older. You've seen other videos before with Sherrod White that, very similar. He's working with a similar clientele. I'm going to get some on here with a younger demographic in the near future where you can kind of see both sides of that spectrum. Because no matter what our personal characteristics are, when you put them together, we're all in the same industry and we're all going for the same success and we're all finding it.
Yeah.
So, as always, we welcome your questions and comments. Hit the like and subscribe button. You want to send us out?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, you build that rapport. You got to build that rapport, build that trust, and good luck, and wish you all the best.
Thanks, guys.